I'm about halfway through my first ever playthrough of the War of the Ring campaign, and it has been a bit difficult to find information since they have greatly revamped the campaign somewhat recently-ish at least I think is fair to say. So I figured I would make a video sharing what we have learned so far in War of the Ring. Let's get into it. Alright, so this video is going to assume that you at least know that this is a no diplomacy, pure good versus pure evil campaign. All good factions are always on one side, all evil factions are always on the other side. Nothing you can do can change that, which does make this campaign interesting from the leadership perspective. By interesting, I mean it's a little bit more laid back, which is nice. However, that's not the super interesting part of this campaign, so let's talk about the actual mechanics at play. One important thing to note, speaking of pure good versus pure evil, is that this does allow you to play any faction and you can join a fellowship no matter what. So, for example, we have players in Erebor, Loth, Gondor, I think even a few crazy people in Rohan. We're all in the same fellowship and it is all good. The objective of this campaign is not to control the One Ring through the control of Dol Guldur. Instead, if you are the good factions, you have to try and help Frodo reach Mount Doom so that he can then fail to destroy the ring as everybody else in Lord of the Rings history did. But then, of course, luckily Gollum will steal the ring and trip and die in the lava and destroy it for us, and Middle-earth is saved. Hooray. If you are evil, you are trying to corrupt Frodo, which is, I guess, symbolic of the ring taking control of Frodo. Presumably, he then goes and hands the ring to Sauron, and all good life in Middle-earth is then presumably wiped out. That seems like something that Sauron would do if he had gotten the ring back. So, if you are the good factions, you want Frodo to not be corrupted because you don't want all the good things in Middle-earth to die. If you're the evil factions, well, you do want him to be corrupted. So how does this actually work? Evil can corrupt Frodo by the control of territories and also by winning special events. We'll talk about special events in a little bit. So if you are evil, you want to capture a lot of the map because the more keeps you have, the faster this corruption speed will increase. If you are good, conversely, you want evil to not win events and not control the map. That way, the rate of corruption is as slow as possible. And importantly, for both good and evil, you want to control the territories that are highlighted in red. You can see a reddish, orangish outline here. These are the territories that Frodo is either currently traveling through or the ones adjacent to Frodo. You want to control these because if you are the good guys, this will increase the speed at which Frodo moves across the map. If you are evil, it will decrease the speed at which Frodo moves across the map. You can also build scout towers. They're kind of like little baby fort things. Let me see if I can find some real quick. I probably should have looked for some on the map. I imagine nobody has built them in the Dead Marshes. Anyways, you can build scout towers and they will either speed up or slow down Frodo. I don't know if there's going to be any in this absolute mess of forts at the Black Gate. Probably not. No big deal. I mean, it's just like a little baby fort on the map. And the point being, if you're good, you build them where Frodo is to speed him up. If you're evil, you want to build them to slow him down. All of those things play into the rate at which Frodo moves across the map and the rate at which he gets corrupted, both of which are important because if you're evil, you want him to take as long a time as possible so that you have as much time as possible to corrupt him. Obviously, if you're good, you want that guy putting on his Nikes and sprinting across the map. That way, you do not risk corrupting him. Once Frodo is fully corrupted, he stops moving, and essentially the good guys lose and the bad guys win. There's more that goes into the actual season points and badge that you earn. But I think that, and actually we could double check this. I have actually checked it a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure that if he does not make it to the end of the map to destroy the ring, then you cannot get a gold ring bearer badge. You can still get a gold face badge, I guess we would call this, but if you do not win the War of the Ring, you don't get the super fancy One Ring profile badge that everybody seems to love and covet. Now for some more fun things, let's talk about some of the special events that pop up as you go through this campaign mode. And the final note, actually, before we get to the special events, if you're wondering what path Frodo is going to take, just think about the books and the movies. He's going to start in the Shire. He's going to go to Bree, then Weathertop. Then he's going to run away from some Nazgul, head over to Rivendell, then go through Moria, Karas Galadhon, etc., etc. Pretty much the route that he takes in the books and the movies is where he's going to go. That way you can plan out your keep capturing to align with wherever he's going to be to speed him up or slow him down. Along the way, there are going to be special events. For example, the first special event is the Nazgul Interception event, where I think it's 7 total fights between the Nazgul and Aragorn, who is escorting Frodo at this point. Think of it like in the movies when Arwen, which I believe was Elro here in the books, is fleeing and trying to get Frodo to Rivendell so that Elrond can heal him. The Nazgul are chasing him down, trying to catch him after he was stabbed and is slowly being sent to the, what is that realm called? The Shadow Realm, whatever it's called. You know, he's turning into a wraith. I feel like my Lord of the Rings trivia and knowledge is generally good, but it's a little bit harder when you're just trying to spitball. Not really spitball to make a video, but you know, you're thinking on your feet to make a video. Anyways, this event has 7 different fights. Aragorn as kind of like a boss mob will spawn for the good guys, and a ring wraith will spawn as the boss mob for the bad guys. You can send your armies to either attack the enemy commander or defend your own commander. You can, I think it's each stage, you can participate in either attacking 3 times and defending 3 times. You can do both. It's not just one or the other. And no matter where you are on the map, your army will get there in 10 minutes or less. If you're super close, it can be faster than 10 minutes. If you are all the way across the map, you will fly across the map and get there in 10 minutes. Anytime there are armies that are defending one of the bosses, you have to fight those armies first. If there are no player armies defending the other side's boss and you attack, you fight a whole bunch of actually incredibly weak kind of like tile armies, basically. And the more of them you kill, the more damage you deal to the enemy boss. And at the end of the timer, if one boss is dead and the other is not, that side wins. Evil wants to win in order to further corrupt Frodo. Good wants to win in order to not further corrupt Frodo. And then after that, he's going to go to Moria. I clicked on the wrong thing. You're going to have a battle with the Balrog, and that's going to take place near Durin's Tower. Giant Balrog boss spawns. Both sides can attack him. They can fight each other as well. There are some pre-built fortresses that you cannot interact with until the event starts. I think they're still here. Yeah, you see these are just named by a faction fortress rather than like Fortress 1, Fortress 2. So the game does provide players with fortresses. You can move your army to these fortresses in 10 minutes, regardless of where you are on the map. However, the actual combat is going to be taking place around Durin's Tower, and reinforcement times are not going to be 10 minutes or less. Whether or not you're going to relocate for this event, I imagine, depends on how competitive your server is. And at certain points, the Balrog will get mad, like at certain HP thresholds. He gets mad and he teleports and he wipes out a bunch of tiles in his general area. And I believe it's whichever faction does more damage overall to the boss wins. So you could just YOLO and send everything to attack the boss, or you could try to wipe out your opponents and then, once the area is secure, attack the boss. Evil also gets some pre-built fortresses over here. They were destroyed by us, so they're no longer there, but they do get them. Those are the 2 special events that we have done so far in our server. We are about to start the Helm's Deep event, which involves gathering to collect clay to help flood Isengard. There's also a special little area on the map. Let me go ahead and pull that up. And like Evil is doing something to try to blow up Helm's Deep. And so basically, as the good side, you're trying to flood Orthanc. Oh, here we can see the little Ents. Treebeard and the boys are going to attack Orthanc. So we're going to have to like send him clay to build a dam to get across here to then attack Orthanc or something like that. And Evil is trying to help their Uruk-hai dudes blow up Helm's Deep. And I believe it's whichever side captures the other side's structure first wins. Not 100% sure on that. Haven't done this before, but I'm excited to find out what exactly is going to happen an hour after recording this video, apparently. Again, there are some pre-built fortresses. These are totally non-interactable until the event actually starts. Based on the looks of it, I think Evil actually has more armies here. They have like 70 or 80 armies in those fortresses, whereas we don't unless people are just chilling in their forts. I guess we'll see how it plays out once we get to it. The point being, this mode has some really, really cool, unique special events that line up with the lore of the game and give kind of an interesting twist on the normal gameplay of Rise to War. Oh, here's a scout tower. I was looking all over for a scout tower earlier. The graphics are a bit bugged out on it right now, but there we go. I managed to find a scout tower completely on accident. What was I saying? I think I was talking about how these special events are not only super cool, they're also very important for helping your side win. I believe if good side wins the Battle of Helm's Deep, it'll actually increase the speed at which Frodo moves across the map, and if evil wins, of course, he gets more and more corruption. So I've really enjoyed the unique aspect of this campaign so far, and hopefully this video helps you guys kind of plan and sort of at least know what you're doing as you go into the campaign. It's been a big learning curve for us. There is definitely a weird aspect to the fact that you start spread out all over the map. You would think normally like, okay, we're all in Gondor. Let's go take like Harondor on the first day or whatever. Or let's go take Nanlith Nui super early on. And you build a fortress, and then all of a sudden you realize that half of your fellowship is in Erebor, and they're sending like 6-hour marches across the map to try to help out. But I will say, once you start taking territories, it becomes a lot more like a normal campaign, because then any good faction can relocate into any good faction territory, vice versa with evil. So the biggest thing that we learned early on is you have to be a little bit slower with keeps unless you all start in the same area, because people aren't going to want to send marches literally all the way across the map to help take keeps. I mean, maybe if you yell at them a whole bunch or something, they will do it, but in general, you do have to expand a little bit more slowly, at least as the good factions that start quite spread out across the map. But then after that, once you really get rolling, it becomes more like a normal campaign where your fellowship is moving around the map based on where you need to go to help Frodo, or I guess in Evil's case, in order to stop Frodo. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.